How you doing, everyone? Welcome back to NRL Fantasy Analysis. Here we are to update you on those 8 games. We're going to go through all of them in this one. Obviously, all the interesting fantasy points, the different bits and pieces from that, but also just going through a review on all the games in general. With a lot of us obviously not able to make too many trades and do anything with our side. So, Knights and the Titans, obviously a really close one here. I actually tipped the Titans just in this one, but a really nice game from the two halfbacks across the two teams there in Foggs and Pearson, and they really obviously controlled this one. Plenty of kicking back and forth with the lowest scoring game, which is great. Which is great for those guys. And Pearson involved in a little bit more of the attacking, where Foggs was just really solid across the park with 680 kick meters and also 3 forced dropouts. So he controlled the game really well, but wasn't able to get the win for his team. Fafita was great again with 48 minutes to get 73. He can be really special when he wants to be. Gets 112 meters with 9 tackle breaks in there. Actually, 21 tackles for once, so actually put a little bit more effort in that. It was also good to see Ponga come out with a much better game. So a try assist and a try for him in this one with 8 tackle breaks. This is much more of what we expected from Ponga over this last bunch of weeks, and hopefully he can finish off the last one really well. Otherwise, it was probably not the best decision to bring him in, but he's going to be very cheap next year, which will be really cool. And hopefully the Knights are a little bit better than what they've ended up. But it's actually funny to see that they're actually coming 7th and clear by about 4 points, 6 points. They've kind of just won a bunch of games without being too good to watch, really, or too convincing. Let's say that. But yeah, getting the job done. Frizzell was 58, was solid as well. Watson with 52, completely fine with that in these 70 minutes. So obviously no attacking stats, but great in defense as always. In terms of the rest of the guys, Brayley, if you're holding him, was solid. Barnett was okay also with his 46. Jaden Campbell, if you're holding him, 31, so he didn't get involved too much in this one. Wasn't a lot to do on his part. Obviously a couple of offloads and a tackle break was fine. But that's about all. Brian Kelly's going to be pretty cheap as well over coming into next season. He's probably he's pretty much exact same as what he started at. So solid game all around, but I suppose good for Knights to get a nice win there. But the Titans, it's pretty important for them to try and stay in that 8. So it was a tough loss for them. We move to the Warriors and the Raiders game, and Rapana comes out with another massive game. he's had a bunch of them this year. Especially now coming from this fullback position, he's been really, really strong with 286 meters and 12 tackle breaks. So 64 there in just those 2 stats alone, to go along with actually 4 goals, a try, a couple of line breaks as well. Hudson Young I spoke about as a really good option to bring in for the last couple of rounds, and he really delivered. He was could have been actually a better option than what Ruben Garrick was, but that's another story. But Hudson Young with a try there, and in his 80-minute games on the edge, he's averaging incredible, and you see 56 average there across the season, and that included a bunch of interchange games as well. So he's been really, really good when he gets those minutes. It'll be interesting to see what happens with him next year, but it looks like he'll get a role. If he gets an 80-minute role at over 700k, he's probably not going to be too undervalued. Let's say that. Wade Eagan was really solid in his 67 minutes as well. So before he got that little concussion, he was scoring really well. So I suppose overall he's been a great option from the get. Much better than, I guess, what I thought he would be. I think he's kind of actually stepped up as a bit of a player and run the ball a little bit more than previous years, for sure, to do really well. I believe 65, I enjoyed watching Chance back. I think he's a really good player. Hey, he's just in the right spot at the right time, runs the ball hard, is very strong as well. So 61 for him off the bench. He scored in back-to-back games, so he's going to be really cheap at the start of next year for anyone that's interested in him, for sure. Sean O'Sullivan was solid at 55. Fanua Blake, if you have him, and Lodge 53-52. So both solid scores without being too spectacular. Aiken with a slightly lower one, but 5 missed tackles was his killer without any tries or anything like that. In this one, Curran with 32. So coming off, I think after his head knocked the week before, he's probably lucky that he actually played because it wasn't that great, and he's fine. But 59 minutes was not ideal. So if you picked him up a few weeks ago, you've kind of been killed on that one, unfortunately. Reese Welsh at 23. So again, not much on for him. Only 76 run meters, which was crazy that in 80 minutes for a fullback that you can be kept to that low. I've seen Latrell do it a couple of times, but not many others, especially someone like Walsh, who's gets a little bit more involved than on a regular basis than what like Latrell would, for example. But 23 for him. We didn't have to play him in the People's squad, which was good. Lucky with that one, but yeah, my team copped that, and Simonson off early, 25 minutes, so that wasn't ideal. All right, Roosters and the Bunnies. So it's 54-12 in this one. They kind of just ran away with it, didn't they? They actually played really, really well. Roosters, yeah, weren't up to their best, but is what it was. Yeah, Bunnies played great, as I said. They lose Latrell, I lose Manu. The Roosters lose Manu for the rest of the season, which is not good at all. Yeah, obviously we know what happened in that one, and I suppose Latrell getting 6 weeks is probably deserved. Just the way he came so hard at him and he contacted the head. I suppose that's the issue with going so hard into a tackle and high and not going around the legs or around the hips, is that there's a chance that can happen, and just a tough one for the Bunnies. I don't think they have much chance of winning the comp now. Like, he's just such a big cog in that wheel. Obviously, really important that Walker, Gagai, Johnson side, Murray and Cook being super important, but that Latrell at the finish, I don't see them beating. I don't see them beating the Storm or the Panthers, unfortunately, without him. But how good was Mark Nichols with a couple of meaties in the middle there? That was great. Cam Murray with 69. He's been awesome in the last sort of, especially 6 to 8 weeks. Had dropped a little bit in cash and was averaging like low 50s, but has really moved on to do some really good things there. Verrills with 68, so he's been really, really cool. Running the ball a little bit more. In terms of a little bit more, he ran the ball once and scored. So that was good for Sammy, with 60 tackles in this game when Rabbitohs had a lot of ball. Like, to actually get 60 tackles when the ball is not in play as much, obviously a lot of tries, a lot of stoppages. So, yeah, it was really, really good from him with only 5 missed tackles. And he's made 250k. Obviously, it doesn't mean too much now because we've all kind of held him. But if you had to play him, I did in my team. We didn't play him in the People's Squad, unfortunately. But, yeah, that was that. Walker, Johnson and Mitchell with 67 and 66, respectively. A couple of tries for each of those guys. Walker was his special self again, even though this time he only had the 1 try assist. But just getting points across the board, even 3 forced dropouts there. Latrell's gone, so if you had him, unfortunate that you miss him for the last game. But it's kind of, the last month was exactly how I thought it would play out. He had a 90, a 30, 60 odd, and he was going to have one more game, but unfortunate he doesn't get that. Be interesting to see as well if how many of these guys get rested. We'll find out tomorrow anyway. Eagan Butcher was really solid. 56 tackles in his 70 minutes is incredible. Cookie was 60, Gags of 56. It was a really high scoring game in this one. Obviously a lot of tries and line breaks and then plenty of tackles as well. So I suppose the ball was just kept in play a lot and just tries, tackles. So that's that there. Gags of 56, Manu of 48. Like, he was solid that try. He's just a freak athlete and has a good footy nous, and he can get up for those tries and do a really good job. But other than that, Sammy Walker 26, Tupanua 17, but Teddy with 9. Who would have expected that in this game when it was a very high scoring fantasy game? Only 91 meters for Teddy is pretty crazy, and 1 tackle break. I haven't seen that in a long, long time. But yeah, probably helps him getting a little bit cheaper for next year, but just wasn't his game after how dominant he's been. Like, that's a very interesting one, isn't it? Here we are, the Cowboys getting up 38-26. They obviously changed things up a little bit. Taumalolo in the front row position and playing Ruben Cotter in 13, I think, was obviously a good thing for them to do. It obviously worked out pretty well. Dearden was solid there. Halligan was Lukey in 61 in his 34 minutes with a try, a couple of line breaks, 6 tackle breaks, and a turnover tackle to boot. So he was really, really cool. Sullivan playing the 9 role was interesting. Obviously a very attacking player, being a half. That really helped him out, getting a couple of line breaks, try assists, and also a try there. And Ravalawa was solid, doing his thing. Only 130 metres to get 80 points is really, really good for a winger. I talked about Amone being the best option, one of the better options in that cheaper price point this week, and he did okay, but we'll get to him shortly. Sloan was solid, so nice to actually see him score some decent points at fullback in terms of fantasy, because he's actually looked pretty good on the park, but just hasn't been able to score too well. And a game like this, regular try assist and a try with a try saver was really good. Taumalolo through the middle was okay. Again, no really attacking stats, and 4 missed tackles kind of hurt him a little bit, but 48 will take when he hasn't been playing at all. Jack Bird with 47 without any attacking stats is really, really cool. Like, he's just such a solid player, and I think he'll only get better next year. He's had a really awesome year. I'm really happy for him to get back into playing like this after a couple of years off, for sure. Lomax of 45, just love watching him play as well. He's been great. Hammer with 43. There's a Monet with 37. So he was really low the whole game. No real attacking stats, just got that one try assist there. Obviously, 4 errors and 3 missed tackles is going to hurt you also to get you scoring really well. That's about it. In that game, we'll move on to Sharks Broncos. Just skip ahead, guys, if you're looking for a certain player or certain game. We'll get to that, but just wanted to put all of the games together in this one. Sharks Broncos. Sharks actually played solid. It's good to see Milford back playing really, really well, and you can see what happens to him when in his fantasy scoring is why he was such an elite player for a long time. Is that when the Broncos are doing well, he was sort of the catalyst for a big catalyst for why they were doing well, and he runs the ball so much. He's got a really good really good bomb in his game. That spiral is incredible. Good little touch around the in goal line to get the forced dropouts and stuff, and can score tries and set up tries with the best of them. And you see that again, a couple of weeks in a row. And he's actually averaged 47 for the year in the games that he's played, which has obviously been in and out for a long time. So good on him. I'm happy to see him playing well, and it will be interesting to see where he ends up next season. Payne Haas was 69 in his 60, so another perfect game for him. That's just find it so hard to stop him. That post-contact meters are incredible, but 253 meters in total. Only 4 tackle breaks. They kind of tackled him in threes to try and make sure that they could actually slow him down. But still one line break there going through Aaron Woods, as we've seen a few times this year. Tessie New, a couple of tries, good on him. Nice to see him doing well, the young fella. Raymond 57, as soon as he gets a try, like he's a 40-point player, and if he gets a try, it's a mid-50s, 60s, so he's been one of the best centers for sure. 184k up this year. If you picked him up early, or after that's 4-week injury he had, then you've really benefited well. Kelly's also done well, and if you had to play him, I imagine most people would be if you owned him and didn't trade him out a while back, then he's done well. Trindle with 49 as well, 313k. He's gone up over this period, and you got him at a 300k price point, so can't really complain there at all. With Braden as well, Farmworth for 48 was solid, and Moylan off the bench again, pretty decent game for him. Another pretty high game, a lot of guys in the 30s here, but no one too important there. Obviously, Metcalf had a really good game the week before, and then got hooked early for Moylan, so they won. I suppose they can't really complain with that one. So Storm and the Eels, the streak breakers, Eels. It'd be good to see them playing a lot better. The final series is going to be better if they're playing much better, and they can actually take it to the big dogs, because there's obviously a few teams in the bottom there, Sharks, Knights, Titans, these ones here that probably will definitely are going to challenge the top guys for sure. And Eels at least have a chance of that if they play really well. Munster, the man we said we probably should pick up, but I suppose the worry was going to be, and should be, will he play next week? I don't think he will. There's no point in playing at all. So, yeah, it's kind of last hurrah for the regular season for Munster. It sounds like 76, just doing everything. 4 offloads, 2 turnover tackles, 6 tackle breaks, running 189 metres for a 6. It's pretty crazy. Good to see Papali'i back 73 minutes this time, so kind of to play a few extra and did the job. 7 tackle breaks. Good to see him back to where he needs to be and should be. Hughes as well, just a much better game for him, but obviously no attacking stats this one. So it was just done across the board with tackles, the run meters, 180 for both your halves. It's just incredible. Not something you see from many teams at all. Moses with 56, if you have him, was awesome. Only the 1 try assist, but just the 570 kick meters is going to do the job for you. Brandon Smith with it's 54 and Lussick 52. So the 2 number 9s really. 13 that Smithy played this week, but yeah, both solid. If you picked up Lussick, he's kind of done a bit of a job for you after that 1 light week. Then moving along, Louis, I like watching him on the edge. He's such another one of those guys that are just so fast. Harry Grant cooked me a little bit. Played 77 minutes and just didn't do much really. They got beat pretty well. 5 missed tackles, 2 errors. Neg 14 there. It's going to hurt him. But no running, no 60 meters for him is very low. No attacking stats. So yeah, one of those games unfortunately. Nico with 36 in his 32 minutes. He's been playing really well. He has to be on the park as much as possible. I think he's just one of the informed players in the comp, and there's no reason why he should be sitting on the bench. The only other theory that I have is probably smart to give him a little bit extra rest at this point because he's been a very dominant player for him, and then he can hopefully play big minutes in the final series. I'm not sure which way he should go in terms of him or Pap at fullback. Obviously, Hines is in better form at the moment. Pap's playing all right. I love him as a player, but obviously not back to where he was pre the head injury. So I suppose it's not the worst predicament to have is to, which fullback you're going to pick, but the way Hines is playing, I think he deserves to be on the park, at least in some capacity, for a long time. And you can just see Pap there, 120 metres, no real attacking stats. One line break there. Again, playing solid, but just not that same level, which is completely fair. I know if I got knocked out, I'd be, and multiple times in a few years, I'd be pretty cooked, that's for sure. Manly and the Dogs, this was an interesting game to watch. Dogs actually playing pretty well. Like, defense was actually really solid. And then Eagles kind of ran away with it a bit. Trbojevic 3 tries in the second half, one being pretty contentious, but 4 line breaks, 3 tries for him, just doing everything well. Even actually made an error this game, 2 errors, but he was special. As always, a lot of people would have captained him or DCE this week, which is completely fair. They both did the great job, 93 and 103. Hagger's little intercept at the end to get your turnover tackle points, and then a little try assist to Jason Saab to run the length and run at about 60% and still absolutely smash everyone. He was it was nice to watch. Olakau'atu with 63. He's been great, especially when he gets that try in his game. The odd 50 to 60. He's gained 300k, so he's been really cool. Josh Jackson, another solid game for him, playing the 80, 61 points. Amazing year for him. It'll be interesting as one of those stalwarts next year in your side, in a team that's probably going to do a little bit better. He could get a few more attacking stats like he did here. Tries his two line break assists that might be able to come into his game a little bit more next year, which will be interesting. To Power with 48, he was okay, and then you got Schuster with 35 with the try assist there, 20 tackles, 72 meters. Just not really much going in his direction. His try assist is really nice. Coming back on the inside and passing to Tommy. That's the other thing I want to mention. Like that Tommy try when he was sitting outside Schuster and then just quickly, sharply ran back in, and then you basically got all these guys heading sideways, and he gets one-on-one with a guy that's off, not he's flat-footed or he's going in that certain sideways direction, and just a smart play that you don't see many people do for some reason. Like those guys that have that speed, like literally just come back on the inside and you get it. You get the defensive line heading sideways. There's either at worst you get tackled close, or you've got a mate on the inside that you could pass it to if you find an extra gap, which is always going to be a bunch of gaps on the inside there when most of the traffic's going down there. So I don't know why they do that. Don't do that more regularly. And Tommy obviously exploited that. Garrick with 26, so 6 goals really, and that was it. 73 meters, 1 error. Just a nothing game. Nothing much went down his side. A lot through the middle with a few of those tries, but one of those things, unfortunately. Sirenen's going to be really cheap next year, by the way, too, when he gets his starting spot back, which he should, I suppose. Depends where like Schuster and those guys end up. But last game, Panthers and the Tigers. So 2 games are kind of, I don't know, Tigers were in it for a little bit, and Panthers scored a bunch of tries, and they scored a couple back at the end. Billy Kickow was much better than he has been. Obviously, averaging 44, 43 he was before this, so much less than sort of regular season, previous seasons. Stefano he's a beast, man. I love watching him play. I can't wait to. Obviously, he might be a little bit too expensive for next year. It's just but it'll be interesting to see his role. Like he's just that. He's their best forward by far. Like 12 solid, and he's gonna do a job for you. But Stefano has that X factor, man. He's really cool to watch. If you held To'o, you managed to pick up a 66, which is really cool. He's so good, eh? He's just so good. 295 meters, the duck and weave that he does all the time. Those flowing locks. Why didn't they update his? They could update his picture. 66 for him was awesome. Clear with 59. If you captained him, it's not the worst thing ever. But 6 missed tackles, 5 errors. I've never seen him drop the ball that much in my life. But still dominated the game. Like still 3 tries. This did what he needed to do to win this game. He'll chalk that up as a bit of an off day, which is completely fine. Leilua though 54 was solid. Pangai Jr. with a nice try off the bench in his 34 minutes. So shows the things that he can do. Fisher Harris is a beast too, man. He's so good to watch. He's runs the ball so hard. To only have 78 meters is really weird. in his 50 minutes. Like he got 78. It was probably in like 6 runs. Like he made over 10 meters every time he ran the ball. I felt. To the eye anyway, it looked that way. Burton with 33 was okay. Not too much to say there. That's pretty much it, guys. And the other Amone with 4. But there you go. So that's the review for the week. We'll go through people scored and also my team. People scored did great. My team only had 16 players and didn't captain Tommy. A few different things that didn't happen. But is what it is. We'll jump into that video next. We've got 1 week to go, guys, in the regular season. Then we'll do a bit of a review on all the teams. But if you've stayed this long, I appreciate it very much, Lee. And we'll catch you in the next one, team. Have a great day.